Robin Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra ready for departure to the north at runway 17. Robin Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra cleared for takeoff runway 17 departure to the north approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 17 Robin X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we take flight in the Robin DR400 from Tacoma Narrows to Everett, here in Washington State. And yeah, flying today during the night. So it's around 9:30 in the evening. And, well, at the moment I have featured a lot of daytime, morning and evening on my channel when it comes to Microsoft Flight Simulator. But certainly nothing yet for when the sun has gone down. So I thought I'd find someone that has a nice mix of both rural and city scenes. And a very distinctive night environment. So I chose Seattle as where we are right now, Tacoma Narrows. It's nice and rural. We then fly a few residential areas en route to Seattle. We will spot SeaTac and Boeing Field to our right hand side before then heading north, flying past the city and then coming in to land over Renton, Everett. So should be a good flight today. Also I thought I'd spot up on the runway and show you guys what the animation for that looks like rather than starting at gate. So again, another thing I thought was quite nice. The aircraft starts at the hold short point, you get the communication between the tower and the aeroplane, and then the aircraft will taxi into runway, hold position and get ready to fly. Now all I need to do is make sure that flaps down first setting, release the parking brake, mixture and prop heart up, and yeah, let's now increase our throttle ready for takeoff. Also get ready on the rudder when the airplane starts moving and when the prop drift starts kicking in. Also hold the stick down ever so slightly just to mitigate any premature lift we may have. It's a nice aircraft to fly, the Robin DR400. It's one of the earlier ones that Sobo worked on, so when I was at XO19 last year it was one of the airplanes that I actually did fly during the demo for it. Let's rotate. So yeah, it's a very nice airplane to fly, and fortunately also has some very massive windows as well. So in terms of looking around, nothing's blocking your view in this aircraft, that's for sure. Let's now increase our flaps. Just trim for climb. And there we have it.
Robin X-Ray Golf Sierra, continue for north departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace.
Right, to acknowledge that, at some point you start a left-hand turn, start heading to the north-east. So, on our left-hand side, welcome to Seattle. You can see where some of the residential areas are. To our right, welcome to Tacoma, where it's certainly a lot more peaceful, a lot less going on over there, and therefore a lot less lights, that's for sure. There's some on the horizon over there, but other than that, not too much going on over here. We'll fly the car heading for a little bit longer until we head over the land, and then we'll use that as a pathway towards our destination. If I pop open the map, I can show you where we're going to, which is Renton. So there's SeaTac. There'll be Boeing Fields, and then Everett Renton is just over here. So, like I say, we do fly past virtually the entire length of the city of Seattle, before then eventually making our way to our destination. So, IFR to Tacoma, obviously that aircraft there's doing circuits around, and well, that really kind of shows the power of the AI in the simulator. Airplanes will do circuits, they will do like training flights and all that, they will fly routes that you'd expect to find in the real world. In terms of visibility, I can see that there's an airplane up there. Got one over here, which is much closer to us, the lights are much bigger. And as we look to the left, I'd expect to see a few more of those as, well, SeaTac is just over there. You can see the 3 runways where the lights start. Overall, the nightlife in the simulator really is phenomenal. And you can see just down there, it's like a college of some sort. You've got a couple of baseball fields, you've got a football field as well, and a grass field running track. You have the different colours of lights depending on what the sources are. So you got residential halogen bulbs, you've got more LEDs over some of the more built up areas, and just overall it's a beautiful looking simulator regardless of what time of the day even you fly in. Climb to around 3,000-4,000 before we level off, so not a very high flight today, but certainly low enough for us to enjoy the nighttime environment around us. So just passing through 2,000 now. DR400. I certainly have been flown by one. So when I did my gliding over in Feshy Bridge back in March, the tow plane they use there is a DR400. So it's a nice little aircraft, very powerful one for GA, and certainly can carry a load. It's a very popular aircraft, especially in some more rural areas within Europe. So we'll fly around the bay at the moment, so we won't leave too far from the water. At the same time, we'll also have a couple of moments to kind of just look out the window and enjoy what the night environment has to offer. In terms of frame rates, I haven't really seen a massive drop in anything. Still running at a cool 45-50 at the moment. And perhaps there may be a small drop as we do fly over SeaTac, but I'm not anticipating much of one, if at all. Just adjust my camera positions 2 seconds. Zoom in a tiny bit more. By default, the simulator has got a bit of a fisheye lens going on, but it is possible to tweak it in the settings to zoom the camera in a little bit by default. I personally quite like the wide-angle view myself, because it just means you get to see more of the cockpit, more of the controls, but it is possible to remove that if you're looking to run something a bit more in front of you. Right, start adjusting our trim now. So I'm getting the aircraft ready to fly level heading. No need to touch autopilot today, since I'm quite happy to fly with this aircraft manually. And I don't think it even has autopilot systems, come to think of it. No, it doesn't, so flying manual regardless. Prop drifts, slightly got a little bit, but not too much. And yeah, it's just a cool little plane to fly. So as you start to fly over some of the busier parts of the city, get a chance to kind of just look down and see what the Rodlow's doing. All cars, all vehicles have got their own individual lighting. Roads are all lined up, as well as residential areas and smaller areas. This here is like a car park, and you can then see where the different lights are dotted along that as well. Just overall, a very fascinating simulator for its nightlife. In terms of matching up to current gen sims, well, it's a while away from P3, that's for sure. I don't know. There are some bits it does better than X-Plane. There are some bits perhaps it doesn't do quite as well. Although, talking about X-Plane night lighting, we do need to make the mention of the unfortunate downgrade it had. So, when X-Plane 11 first released, the night environment was phenomenal. It looks fantastic, it went on for miles. But, yeah, as the versions went on, as the sim went through more optimization, Laminar Research did downgrade its night lighting. As a result, you had the, kind of like here, you got the 3D spotlights right in front of you, but then further on you go, the less spotlights, and eventually just became flat textures, which don't quite look so good. And so there were a few add-ons out there which kind of extended the lighting and brought back the original release version, but still, I've got to say, Microsoft Flight Sim's night lighting really doesn't look that bad. Quite a few aircraft in the area now. I can spot all the flashing green and red lights. And also, you can watch the pace of the lights. So they're not all standardised, they're not all the same. Some go faster than others. And they do also follow, I guess, the real world patterns of the navigation lights as well. So every aircraft has its own kind of distinct pattern. So when it comes to the standard jetline, so the A320 is, I can't remember, one of them for the 737 A320, one is 2 blinks brake, 2 blinks brake, while the other one is 3 blinks brake, 3 blinks brake. I can't remember exactly which aeroplane it is that do it. Presumably, well, your A320 is the AI in this sim, so they're all 2 blinks in distance, and therefore presume that that'll be the pattern. But still, you look around, well, it's definitely looking rather pretty. That aeroplane there, I'm definitely keeping a close eye on because, well, first of all, the distance between the two lights are much wider than some of the other aircrafts, and also the aircraft's much lower as well, so definitely the closest aeroplane to us right now, and therefore we try not to impede on their path. I say that as we're about to cross over the 3 runways here at SeaTac, so hopefully we don't cause any go-arounds, but hey, who doesn't break a few rules here and then? A couple of moments, we'll make a left-hand turn, we'll fly on a directly north heading. We'll have the Seattle Tacoma airports to our left. We'll then have Boeing Field directly below us. So we'll overfly that airfield, and then we'll have a few landmarks to spot as you fly over Seattle. We should also try and keep an eye out for the, what's it called? The big spiky building in Seattle. The Space Needle, that's it. The high-rise, slow-rotating restaurants that exist in this city. It's definitely a fun little landmark. Looking around, we haven't impeded on any air traffic. Left-hand side we're clear. Right-hand side is no aircraft, and so presumably all departures coming on the other side. That we've caused all the aircraft to go around, and therefore, whoops. But yeah, I mean, as we look around, just a variety of lighting there is. You can now see we're flying over a park, and also as we fly over here, it's a bit more residential as well. And yeah, once again, it's just a whole variety down below. And depending on where in the world you are, also depends on what kind of lighting you'll be seeing as well. So, one place that I have absolutely adored flying at night during the evening is Lappeenranta in Finland. Perhaps at some point I'll show a flight in that, maybe even do a nighttime flight out of Finland again, because, well, after that Finnish video, apparently every single Finn in the country tuned into that and fell in love with me trying to attempt singing the Finnish national anthem. It didn't go well, but I did get a fair bit of praise that my pronunciation wasn't that far off, so I'll take every bit of praise I get. But yes, it was what it was. I ain't complaining. I can see you flying rather close. You are I think you're a prop aircraft of some sorts. Yeah, you're a prop aircraft. Very nice. Make a slight left turn, start adjusting back to the runway. And like I say, at this point, our next bit will be to overfly the runway at Boeing Field. It's a rather interesting light show going ahead there, because there apparently are a lot of aeroplanes around us. If we had a G1000 or a ProFlight panel in front of us, we'd probably be able to spot that. Instead, we've got this map, and oh, okay, wow. There's a lot of aircraft here at Tacoma at the moment, SeaTac. Got a lot of aeroplanes flying around here as well. A couple of them departing now to the east. Perhaps long-haul flights heading over towards Europe or other areas. I mean, they're all low altitude at the moment. Or I could have just accidentally flown some sort of multiplayer flyby and I haven't realised it. Because, yeah, it is possible in Microsoft Flight Sim. You have got all these multiplayer aircraft around. And therefore, there's a good chance that I may have actually just gone and impeded on a group flights. Which, well, they are awesome to have. I have done one or two of them so far in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And just because of how well tuned the multiplayer is in this simulator, yeah, group flights are a lot of fun to do, and at some point I'll definitely try and do a Drawyah channel group flight as well, and see if I can get some of you guys to fly with me as well in the simulator once it does release on Tuesday. Man, less than a week to go now. I am so excited to be able to actually live stream this stuff to you, rather than just talk to myself for an hour at a time, and hope that it all kind of makes sense. Quick check of the frame rate. We are currently flying at around 26-27, so have a small impact, but that will definitely be a combination of both the AI aeroplanes, the fact that we're flying right next to a busy international airport, as well as quite a large city as well. So in terms of frame rate, you're not getting too bad. A lot of people talk about 30 FPS, 25 FPS even being low for any game or simulator, but compared to a first-person shooter or something like that, FPS in the flight simulator is much more forgiving. I mean, you could fly at 20, 25 and still be flying silky smooth because, well, for one, it's not so much about quick movements here and there to keep your aeroplane flying or whatever you may be getting yourself involved in. I mean, okay, DCS world perhaps you do need to have the higher frame rate capability because, well, in combat you need to be able to make those split-second decisions, but flying leisurely in the flight simulator, you don't quite need such high frame rates and such high capability. It's nice to have, but again, for lower spec systems, it's nice to be able to sit there knowing that you're not going to suffer. You don't have a modern bit of hardware, but you're not going to get punished for it. Let's make a left-hand turn now. That right there, I believe, should be Bravo Foxtrot India. Yes, it is. That would be Boeing Fields. One of the two airports in this area that the Boeing Airplane Company do operate out. So we've got Boeing Field, and the other one is also our destination, which is Everett. Boeing Airplane Company. I think it's just called the Boeing Company, isn't it? I'm sure there's two division names, something like that. You've got the Boeing Company, and you've got... it might just be Boeing Aeroplanes. Got an aircraft coming to lands now on the left-hand side there. I'm just making small adjustments on the stick just to keep the aircraft flying straight and level. And down below, I might be trying to spot some of the railway lines that come through here. Yeah, like I said, there are a few moments where the frames also drop as it loads in all the sceneries, but again, when that does happen, it only lasts maybe a second or two while the CPU kind of just, CPU will jump up, render everything, send it to the GPU to show, and then calm down again. So, once again, it's just one of those 2-second lag spikes that you do notice, but you're not worried about because you know the simulator is not going to crash on you, and almost instantly you'll be resuming your flights again. When that happens in X-Plane, when it certainly happens in P3D and FSX, the moment the simulator freezes for any reason, say your prayers because your flight is almost certainly over. X-Plane's a bit more forgiving when it freezes. You can sit there a few seconds. As long as you don't click anything, the sim will eventually jump back to life. But with Microsoft Flight Sim, I've had no freezing. I've had 2 crashes. One that was down to the sim, and another one that was just down to me and my overclock settings at the time. And yeah, it's just been smooth sailing since then, like I say. I see a flashing light in distance. I believe that's going to be Renton. But first things first, let's make a left-hand turn. And let's go fly directly over the city of Seattle. There's the main city. You can see the red lights on the roofs of high buildings, and so that is a safety feature that buildings do have in the real world. Just kind of define pilots where they are, and therefore kind of just avoid flying over them, especially around airports. It's a nice safety system to have. To our left, we're going to go have the docks here in Seattle, a couple of shipping yards, and at some point also keep an eye out for the soccer stadium as well. That'll be down below us. I'm not quite sure exactly where it is, but if we see it, we'll definitely see it. Seattle, I believe, is a photogrammetry city, and therefore it does use the 3D map data to pop them out of the ground, and therefore scenery accuracy is very high. You can see traffic lights as well. It's got green lights, got a couple of red lights, green again, more reds. So you have got traffic lights down below, and a few other small details that just go down to bring the world to life. There it is. There's the baseball stadium, and that there, I believe it's a multi-use football stroke soccer. I'm sure that anybody that does support teams here, even at night, will be able to spot the 2 stadiums and actually recognise it bit for bit. Even the CenturyLink sponsor there on the roof, all captured with the photogrammetry. And as we look down as well, just the level of detail in this sim is just phenomenal. There are all the high-rise skyscrapers. Haven't spotted the Space Needle yet, but I'm sure that'll be around here. Oh, there it is. Very nice indeed. I do have a guy who lives in Washington State. I met him when I was in Greece. We did diving together out in the Marathon Bay. So he lives up in Washington State, and at some point I do plan to pay him a visit. I'll definitely also come and visit Seattle, and I'll 100% be doing the tour of Everett. So a tour of the Boeing facilities there. the aeroplane manufacturing plant, the gift store. Can't forget the gift store at the end. Yeah, something I definitely want to do at some point. Maybe even one day I'll go to Toulouse and do the Airbus tour, but we'll see. As I say, I am more of a Boeing person than Airbus myself, and so it'll all come down to timing and all that. Right, that I believe is our aircraft here now. We'll be flying north a little bit longer, and then at some point soon we'll start thinking about coming into land. We'll make a southerly departure, as that's what the winds currently call for. And therefore we'll overfly the airports, fly downwind even, make a left stroke right hand turn depending on what side we're going to be on, and then bring the aircraft in for a landing. Tomorrow I plan to kind of show you off some of the more adverse weather effects in simulators. So fly during some storm somewhere and fly over another region that we've not yet covered on this channel. One area I've had a fair few requests for, and I have noticed them in the chats, perhaps maybe in a bit too much of a spammy way, but hey, you guys are excited, so I can't blame you for that. But I've had a lot of people who want me to fly in and out of India. And so, if you look at the weather right there, right now, it is the middle of monsoon season, and therefore there's going to be a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and a lot of clouds, all of which will play an effect of how our aircraft flies. So perhaps India will be our destination for tomorrow. We'll pick a time of day, we'll find somewhere that has got the strong weather effects, and then we'll see how things go from there for us. Then over the weekend, Saturday, I anticipate doing the 747 flights, so do stay tuned for that. I've got the route in mind. I'm now just learning the aeroplane and actually being able to function it properly so that I can give you guys the proper 747 experience. I know that Chewy94 actually did a video on it recently, doing it in a 2-part series, and well, that's another way of doing it as well, but I prefer doing the 4 flights in one go. So if you want to see the 747, I do recommend having a look at Chewy's video, since it is a very nice done flight. At the same time, don't forget me. I'm still here, and I will be here as after the simulator has released. Looking behind us around SeaTac, there's still a fair few aircraft flying around the airspace. Another one up above there as well, just flying past. It's a very busy airport, SeaTac. There's a lot going on there at the moment. There's an aeroplane just over there in the distance. You got one over there coming in to land at Everett. There's just so much that this world does at night that really is fantastic. So we're leaving the heart of the city now. We're going to have a few main roads dotted around, but for the most part this is now all going to be residential. So homes where people live, a few parks and open spaces for people to head to during the low down times. And then yeah, soon after we pass Everett, we'll start seeing some more rural land as well. So for example, just there you can see where, whoops, you can see where the scenery does get a bit darker, as well there's land there, but not necessarily buildings, and therefore it is just open park space and very little going on. We shall fly to the left of the airport, so we'll carry on flying the current heading. In just a couple of moments, we'll then start turning around to bring the airplane into land. Not the longest flight in the world, but definitely a pretty one. The Nightlife in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it is beautiful. And hey, in terms of recording, it's currently 9:15 at the moment in the UK, so I'm not doing this one at 4 in the morning. Yes, so there was one flight that I did do, which did actually take up until 4:30 in the morning before I went to bed, and that was recording the Beirut flight. So when I did the charity flights from Paris Charles de Gaulle to Beirut. I mean, the flight itself is about 4 hours in length, and as well as recording it, as well as then trimming the loading screens and just rendering the video again, because, you know, whenever you have to trim the first second and the last second, you then have to re-render the entire 4-hour video, which took its time. And then I had to plan the premiere, I had to prepare the Tiltify link as well for the donations to go through. And certainly it is worth it. I mean, we raised a lot of money during that. If I go grab the Tiltify link now, let's have a look. Has that gone up any further since I last looked? We did hit 606 last time I checked, which is again phenomenal, because when we finished the stream we were at 504, so over 100 post stream. And looking at it now, £632.16. We've had another donation come in as well, or a couple of them. Yeah, got DMR of 20 and Drawyah with 333, so it's phenomenal. You guys have done a lot for the people of Beirut. I mean, it's a small amount of money, that, but in terms of providing resources for people, it will help a lot. And there's also the other group flight as well, so the first Saturday after Simulator releases, there will be some group flying in and out of Beirut as well, and during it there will be another pot of money for people to donate to and start helping people out there as well. So credits to the person who ever started that one, and certainly something that I'll also be having a look at as well, potentially even do fly in and out of. Maybe not so much streaming, but certainly within my own time, just kind of adds to the traffic in the airspace. Anyhow, just a couple of minutes, we're now going to be bringing the aircraft in and getting ready to land. CPU usage has increased a tiny bit there. The frame rate is now stabilising at around 28-29, so not too bad. As soon as the CPU then clears up, we'll almost likely shoot up back into the region of the 40 and 50 FPS area. Another, I'm sure that's like a college. I mean, you got all these sport fields in the close area, got a few buildings in there as well. I'm sure they're like technical colleges or universities here in America that, especially when it comes to sport, it's a very big thing there, big business, American high school sports. A moment, we'll now start our descent. We'll fly over the water a little bit further, giving us more distance to make the approach in. We'll make a right hand turn and then come into land. So currently right downfield of the airport. Right downfield of Everett Paine Field. Certainly where a lot of Boeing's production line is, and today a Boeing 737 MAX parking lot, because they need a place to store them all while they're now in the final stages of recertifying the aeroplane. By the looks of things, Boeing will be set to bring the MAX back by the end of this year, stroke start of next year, while they also make a few changes to all the models. So they'll need to reroute some of the electrical cables, and they also need to update the MCAS software as well to stabilise that. So not long now until the MAXs are airborne again, and hopefully thereafter, safety wise, start bringing that back up to high again. I mean, people know the Douglas DC-10 as the crash jet because of how often it had its issues, but after a really shaky 10 years where it was everything from cargo doors blowing off to wings falling off and engines falling off. The metal strips coming off the airplane as well. It had a few difficult years, DC-10, but after that, 14 years after it first introduced, the aircraft basically never had an issue ever again. McDonnell Douglas has ironed out all the problems and ultimately allows the aircraft to thrive during its latter years and still operates even to this day, now as a cargo aeroplane. But yeah. These days, it's one of the safest aircraft in the sky, but because of its legacy of its first 10 years, it has very much limited its public view as a really dangerous aeroplane. There's a couple of them like that as well, where a few shaky years and a few accidents here and there really damages the reputation of the aeroplane and has caused it to lose its views over the rest of its service life. Alright, let's make a right hand turn now. We'll lower the first setting of flap. And slowly also bring back the throttle a bit more. And just use it as a chance to bleed off some airspeeds, as well as send the aircraft to a lower altitude. Make a bit more of a turn. A bit more throttle back as well. It's a static gear airplane, the DR400, so no need to drop any of that. We'll now lower the flaps to landing config. We'll align ourselves with the runway, and then we'll bring it in for a touchdown. Looking good. Left turn, just line up the runway. You can see now some of the facilities there on the left. A lot of those will be managed to run by Boeing. Otherwise, yeah, almost now ready for touchdown. There's a little bit of gusting, the wind's going from the right to left, and therefore do need to fight the turbulence a little bit. But for the most part, our airspeed is fine. A little high on the glide slope, but nothing that the aircraft can't handle. And the last thing for it is then bring the aircraft in for a touchdown. Nice and stable. Bring back the throttle. Perfect. There's no reverse thrust on the DR400, so we'll allow momentum to let the aircraft roll. Also, I'll bring the aircraft back to the centre line because, well, there's a little bit of crabbing involved there with the winds, and therefore we did have to bring the aircraft in at a slight angle. Here comes an exit point, so we'll take that. We'll go find someone to park up, and then we'll bring this one to an end. But like I say, the night environments within Microsoft Flight Simulator truly is phenomenal. It looks spectacular. Let's increase our flaps. Turn off the landing lights, turn on taxi lights, and I'll presume we'll go find somewhere to park over there perhaps. I'm not too sure about the airport in terms of its layouts. Let's we'll make a left, we'll follow the Boeing side down, see what facilities we have here as well. I can see one parked aeroplane currently in the darkness. There's another one there as well, so we've got that one in front of us, we've got that smaller one over there. And there will be a few airplanes dotted around the airports. It's a spectacular simulator. I mean, just look at the taxi lights, how they kind of interact on the ground. You've got the runway lights on the left there, all the different colours. The AI airplanes in the distance as well, they're all shimmering. Got two right there. I'm looking at that as well. I think that may just be a star, however, as opposed to an airplane. And even stars, I didn't really mention that either, but that is a real star map. Those are the real locations of the stars in and around the world, so... Ooh, didn't spot you coming towards me. Thank you very much. And every time I do a light aircraft taxi, there always has to be one ground vehicle coming out of nowhere for me. Yeah, all the stars are in their correct locations, and therefore, if you were to navigate your airplane by the night sky, then it is also possible to do that as well. The moon's position will change as the months go by, and we'll follow the real world moon path as well. It's just, it all comes together for a phenomenal flight sim experience. Now hopefully I'll find somewhere to turn right in a moment. We can actually park our aeroplane up. This looks promising, even if you're doing that parking in front of the Boeing Company hangars. And also actually, talk about the spotlights as well, the landing lights and taxi lights, the way it shines off the ground there, different concrete panels. It's a very pretty simulator. Two more ground vehicles for us to go around. And there we go, we've got a few parking spots around here. But I must admit, it's quite busy here at the moment in Everett. Got quite a lot of airplanes dotted around parked here. Perhaps in terms of using the real-world AI data, the simulator has spotted that there is just a load of airplanes parked here at the moment, and therefore they've gone and done just that within the simulator world. Right, let's turn right here, and then let's park the airplane up. Parking brake set. Mixture control down. And there we have it. Welcome to Everett. We'll also turn off the landing light, although I can't imagine then there'll be much light outside for us to look at. We've also got the strobes as well. We'll turn that off. Navigation lights, however, we'll leave that running. Cool. So, yeah, there we go. Chassis, so look at the light in there as well. It's got a green reflection on the left side, a red reflection on the right, and so that'll be dynamic to wherever you are. It's a beautiful simulator, and the amount of work that Asobo have done, especially just in terms of actually getting the visual quality right, it truly is amazing. And just again, for the visual quality, you have a really beautiful looking simulator. So exciting. Not long now to release. Not long now until you guys get your hands on this platform as well. So, yeah, that was a flight from Renton Narrows to Everett. That was the Seattle landscape at 9:30 in the evening. And that was a flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I hope you guys have enjoyed the trip. Tomorrow we'll be flying the A320neo again, so do keep an eye out for that. On Saturday we'll then do both the 320neo and the 747, and on Sunday I'll probably throw a 20 along with another prop aircraft as well. But those two I haven't actually decided on anything yet in terms of routing or destinations or anything like that. No idea. But we'll save that for when the day comes. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Do leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Do subscribe as well if you haven't done so already. I mean, I've been blown away with the amount of support you guys have showed me. We have basically tripled the number of subscribers on this channel in just a week and a half. Okay, that's 2 weeks now even, but again, we've tripled the numbers. Views and watch time has gone through the roof, gone over tenfold, and I really don't know what else I can say apart from thank you. You guys are just awesome. So, you take care of yourselves, and I shall see you tomorrow evening for a nice pre-weekend flight. Take care, and have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.